Why caring less makes you more powerful. There's a moment in life where you realize something really important. The people who criticize you the most aren't the people living the life you want. And once that clicks, something shifts. Because power doesn't come from being liked, it comes from being aligned. Today, I want to talk about why caring less about what people think actually makes you more powerful, more peaceful, and more confident, and why being misunderstood isn't a failure, it's often a sign of growth. So, welcome back to the channel, the It Girl Archives. Let's get into today's video. Why we care so much. Most of us aren't born obsessed with opinions, we're conditioned into it. We learn early on that approval equals safety, that being liked equals belonging, that being agreeable equals love. So we start editing ourselves. We soften our boundaries, we over explain our choices, we make ourselves easier to digest so that we don't upset anyone. But here's the truth no one says out loud. The more you care about everyone's opinions, the less connected you are to yourself. Because you can't hear your own intuition when outside noise is too loud. Opinions are projections. One of the most freeing realizations is understanding this. People don't see you, they see themselves reflected through you. Their fears, their insecurities, their limitations, and their unhealed wounds. When someone calls you too much, it's usually because you're doing too little. And when people feel threatened by your growth, they don't ask questions, they form opinions. And that's just not your burden to carry. Why caring less builds self-trust. Caring less doesn't mean you become cold or heartless. It means you stop outsourcing your self-worth. You stop asking, is this okay? Does this make sense to you? Do you approve? And you start asking, does this feel aligned? Does this protect my peace? And is this honest for me? Self-trust grows when your actions match your values, not when they earn applause. And once you trust yourself, outside opinions lose their power over you. But let me say this statement really quick. Asking certain questions that I mentioned before, like do you approve? Is this okay? Those things aren't bad, but ask yourself, where is this coming from deep down inside? Because it could be an insecurity and you don't trust yourself enough. So it's not that it's bad, but just be mindful of where certain words that you're saying, where it's coming from. The myth behind being liked. Here's something uncomfortable but true. Being liked by everyone usually means you're not fully honest because authenticity creates contrast. Some people will resonate with you deeply, others will misunderstand you completely, and both are okay. You're not meant to be universally understood, you're meant to be real. Trying to be liked by everyone is honestly exhausting and it slowly erodes your identity. Power comes from being clear, not agreeable. Because once you start to be agreeable and being fixated on being liked, you will most likely develop maybe an imposter syndrome. I don't want to diagnose, but it's very likely. And don't get me wrong, have an open mind when I'm saying these things because sometimes you have to do these things to protect yourself, be safe, or blend in for a certain amount of time. But when this is done repeatedly and to the point where you are kind of selling yourself out or selling yourself short, it becomes a problem. So just keep that in mind because we're human. There's certain things that happen in life where we might have to be a chameleon and blend in, but not just don't make it a habit all the time and just be aware of your surroundings and use it for when it's needed, not every day. Being the villain sometimes. At some point, you'll become the villain in someone else's story. Not because you were cruel, but because you said no. Because you stopped overgiving. Because you chose yourself. And here's the part that matters. You don't need to correct any misunderstanding. Not everyone deserves access to your explanations. Sometimes silence is actually strength. Walking away is self-respect. Letting people think whatever they want is the most powerful choice you can make. Being the villain in someone else's narrative doesn't mean you're wrong. It often means you're no longer controllable. Before, I used to care about, justice and correcting certain narratives about me, or be really hurt that certain people would believe certain things about me. But the famous saying, obviously, if they believe it, they're just as dumb. And they really are. Or they never liked you to begin with, and that's okay because people show themselves when lies and narratives are made up about you. It's freeing not to care because it doesn't consume your mind, and accepting certain things is literally okay because guess what? People are never going to not talk, whether it's about you, about somebody else. It's never going to stop, and it's not something that you can stop either. So I've become very comfortable with it. And when we think about celebrities, they're always talked about, certain things are brought up, and certain celebrities don't correct themselves. And I would love to consider myself, or a certain archetype would be Beyonce, because Beyonce doesn't overcorrect. She's quiet, mysterious. A lot of people throw things her way that are probably not true, but guess what? She doesn't correct it. And she's literally a star. And you have to move like one. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about Queen Victoria. Not the best example now, but Queen archetype, right? The Queen doesn't over explain, she doesn't go out of her way to do certain things. And it's just like, okay, they're saying this, but what now? And I'm never saying not to stand up for yourself, because one thing I'm gonna do is stand up for myself, no doubt. But when certain things happen, when people throwing dirt on your name, and it's just like, is this worth my energy to deal with? Just really ask yourself certain things, because it's not worth your energy, and these people are very miserable and sad with their life. So, yeah. To get more into the Beyonce archetype, she doesn't overshare, rarely explains herself, controls her image tightly, and doesn't argue in public. Because of that, the media projects narratives onto her. Silence gets misread as manipulation, privacy gets misread as secrecy, saying she thinks she's above everyone. Confidence without apology is framed as arrogance. Relatability. Relatability is a code for access. Beyonce doesn't give access. This archetype observes more than they speak, chooses words carefully, doesn't rush to defend, lets results speak, and knows silence is power. With that being said, I view access to me as a privilege, and so should you. An honorable mention of women who have been villainized for certain things and give off the carefree attitude of not being liked would have to be Rihanna, Doja Cat, Britney Spears, and Nicki Minaj, and so many others. These ladies are an example because I think that they embody the characteristics of being villainized and someone who is carefree. Despite the political views and personal conflicts that we've seen on the media, just focus on them embodying what standing on your word and not settling or being complacent looks like. So that is the main focus here. So, how caring less changes your energy. When you stop caring excessively about opinions, something beautiful happens. Your nervous system relaxes, your decisions become cleaner, your confidence feels quieter but stronger. You don't rush to prove yourself. You don't chase clarity from people who benefit from misunderstanding you. You don't explain yourself to people committed to misinterpreting you, okay? Misunderstanding and misinterpreting, those are two big ones. So please pay attention to that. That is power, okay? Don't explain or chase the clarity, because the most powerful people in the room are rarely the loudest. Oh my gosh. Please keep that in mind. They are not the loudest, okay? They're they're the most grounded, okay? I despise people who think because they're loud and they're extroverted, that means something. It means nothing. A lot of those people are insecure and they're chasing validation. I'm not saying all, but majority of the people who you see wanting to make commotion and trying to get the most attention,
there is something there that we do not know about. So that's why I feel like quiet people do get backlash, and it's not that serious. Sit in solitude, find yourself, figure it out. People don't need to go out of their way just because everybody else is doing it. It doesn't benefit anybody. And I think I was having a conversation the other day, and a lot of intelligent people are not around a lot of people, and they actually love to be, in solitude. So keep that in mind. Let's get into practical shifts you can make. Here are a few grounding questions I always come back to. Does this opinion protect my peace? Does this person truly know me? Will this matter in a year? And am I explaining for clarity or for approval? And remember this, you're allowed to outgrow rooms, relationships, and versions of yourself without apologizing. Caring less doesn't make you careless, it makes you intentional. It makes you selective with your energy, your time, and your emotional investment. Let people misunderstand you. Let them form their opinions. Let them tell their version of their story. You know who you are, and that's where your power lives. I know I'm saying all of this, but it's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult. You're going to feel sad. You're going to feel misunderstood. You're going to be angry, and that's okay. And it's okay to feel those emotions because it's going to come. You can't really run from them, right? But just remember, all of this has a bigger purpose, right? You are being put under pressure so you can turn into a diamond. And the diamond we're talking about today is, you know, accepting that things are going to happen and you just have to protect your peace, and letting go of approval and validation is how you get that peace. So just remember, it's not going to be easy. It's going to struggle and hurt at first, but it will become natural, and you'll see the benefit and the fruit of the message of today's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I love hearing your guys' stories, under the video. So please feel free to, share your experiences or how you felt about today's video. Bye, guys.